Now the marker drones are very versatile, as I mentioned in my other video if you had a chance to watch it. They have several different uses once they tag an enemy unit. Although expensive, 30 points a piece, they have a lot of options they can do. I used to use these red markers to symbolize marker hits, but now I've kind of relegated these to use as wound markers for multi-wound models like the crisis suits. I was telling y'all the other day how I found pretty cool markers. Here's a box of them that you can get at your local hobby store or arts and crafts store. I think it was like $4 for this box, and there's like 200 of something in here. So these are my new markers. So what happens is when those marker drones fire and they hit an enemy unit, I'll place these crystals in front of the enemy unit, and that'll let me know how many marks are on them. These marks can be exchanged for one of three things basically. You can use these marks to lower the enemy unit's leadership, to lower the enemy unit's cover save, or to bump up the BS of one of your unit, the ballistic skill of one of your units. So seeing that the marker drones are 30 points and each one of your towel warriors are 10 points, you got to weigh the advantages of what's the advantage of upping the BS skill, or should I just buy 3 more warriors that would can also shoot fire into the enemy. But the advantage of that is one marker light ups the BS of the entire squad. And they don't have to be for this squad, it can be for any squad in your unit. So a marker light fired from one of these units can, one of these drones rather, can be used for any unit to bump up their BS skill. And now we're on the topic of marker drones, let's talk about sergeant specific items. Because the sergeant is about the only one that can buy equipment off the war gear list. He can also buy a marker light that he can fire himself. The issue with his marker light is unlike the marker drone's marks can be used by his own squad that the marker drone is in. It's called a network marker light. The marker light that the sergeant carries has to be used by another unit. He marks the unit, and then another unit in the Tau army takes the benefit of that marker light. So the marker drone, its own unit can use the marker abilities. If he hits with his light, it has to be used by another unit. Plus the fact, remember that marker lights are heavy weapons, so if he chooses to use his marker light, he cannot move. If the drones fire their marker lights, the unit cannot move. Okay, the sergeant's allowed to buy up to 100 points of equipment from the Tau army list. Some of the options he has, which I really don't see much use for, are the bonding knife. The bonding knife at 5 points, what that allows your troop to do is regroup if it's under 50%. So if your guys are running off the board under 50%, then you're allowed to regroup. But with the low leadership level of the Tau, that's kind of a hard thing to do to begin with. EMP grenades, talk about those in a second, very useful item. The black sun filter for 3 points allows him to see in the dark. It basically halves the night fighting distance. But again, not too much of an upgrade because he would be the only one in the unit allowed to shoot in that scenario. So why waste the points on one guy when you have a whole squad there? Hardwired drone controller, we talked about those to pick up drones, that's 0 points. You just got to pay for the cost of the drones. Hardwired multi-tracker, what the multi-tracker allows him to do, it allows him to shoot at a different unit than his squad is shooting at, which would be an advantage in combination with the marker light, because he can target tanks while the rest of his squad targets infantry or some things of that nature. There I go saying nature again, I'll stop doing that. And then you have your gun drone for 10 points, your marker drone for 30 points, and your shield drone for 15 points. And that pretty much finishes out the options that the sergeant can take. Let me touch briefly on how the fire warriors can work well with other units within the Tau army. In comes the crisis suit. Everybody recognizes the crisis suit as the staple of the Tau army. The problem with the crisis suit is it's got a 3+ save, not so bad, kind of same as Marines, but it's only got a toughness of 4, again, same as Marines. They have 2 wounds, but a lot of times when you're fighting Marine units, they'll never get the chance to use that second wound because they're only toughness 4. So if this guy gets hit by a strength 8 weapon, he loses both wounds and dies instantly. If you have a squad of them, being 3 of them, you get hit by a strength 8 template weapon, kiss your whole squad goodbye. It's a lot of points down the drain rather. So a way you can work with this, guys, with your fire warriors, you got your 6-man fire warrior teams, you encastle your suit. Okay, here's your battle suit. Your battle suit is your workhorse of your Tau army. That's the guy that's going to do all the damage to your enemy. Surrounding him are your fire warriors. Your fire warriors are basically, as has always been referred to, they're squishy troops. They don't really do that much, and if they get caught in an assault, they're dead. They're easy fodder for the enemy if he can get him in an assault. So high priority is going to be that battle suit. That's going to be what your enemy is going to want to take out. So what you do is you encastle your suit with your fire warriors as such. Now when your Marines come in for the assault, they're going to start rapid firing into that suit to try and kill it. Well, in this situation, they have to shoot through your fire warriors to get to your suit. So your suit is going to get a +4 cover save. Now, the suit's natural save is a +3, which is better. But say like one of these guys is carrying a laser cannon and he stopped, it's a heavy weapon, he stopped and he's going to fire at your suit. That laser cannon is a strength 9 AP2. The suit having a +3 save, it's going to defeat his save and kill him outright. Once again, he's going to lose that second wound without having the opportunity to continue the fight. What this does, this grants him a +4 save, or in essence, a +4 invulnerable save, even though it's a cover save against that laser cannon shot. Because the way this works is he's going to shoot back at those troops and they're not going to get a cover save. Because if you draw a line of sight from his head to those enemy models, they are 100% exposed. From his line of sight, and the new rules state line of sight to them, they're 100% exposed. If you draw a line of sight from them back to the suit, he's only 50% exposed. If any part of his body is hidden, he gets a cover save. So he basically has a +4 invuln save at this point. They don't get that cover save in return. Additionally, he can't get assaulted because there is no room to assault through these models to the suit. So if these guys move up and move into an assault, they have to assault the fire warriors. Now, because the crisis suit is an elite choice, he is not an independent character. Crisis suits are not independent characters. So even though the fire warriors are now locked into a suit, or locked into an assault rather, the crisis suit with his jetpack can jump out of this formation, land out in the field, and be prepared for when those fire warriors die, because they will in fact die. He can set him up in a prime position to rapid fire those plasma guns in those Marines once those fire warriors are dead. And believe me, they are going to die. So it's an assault-proof formation for the crisis suit, plus grants the crisis suit a +4 cover save, and as those enemy models come marching up, they don't get that +4 cover save in return. Let me cite some rules that justify this formation. As defined by the Master Rulebook on page 21, it says, when are models in cover? When any part of a target model's body, as defined on page 16, is obscured from the point of view of the firer, the target model is in cover. So now we go to page 16. It says, line of sight must be traced from the eyes of the firing model to any part of the body of at least one of the models in the targeted unit. And if you look over here, it even shows you a diagram of the individual tracing from the firing target's head to the target unit. Now this brings us back to page 21, intervening models. If a target is partially hidden from the firer's view by other models, it receives a +4 cover save in the same way as if it was behind terrain. Okay, here's the field of view from the battlesuit. Clearly 100% of the Marines are in view. This is the view from the Marines, and as you can clearly see, the battlesuit is obscured by the fire warriors, and so the fire warrior, or the battlesuit rather, is granted a +4 cover save from the Marines.